What is up? Hi, everybody. My name is Dsouza, and today I'm going to be talking about how do you create the spark back in a relationship? How do you basically create that, spark that was there before but isn't there any longer? And relationship somehow feels, dragged, feels like, do you even think I should continue this, or it's just getting boring? Should I think of cheating? These are the struggles that some of us may face. Now, spark is the fire, the energy, the fun, the playfulness that happens in a relationship. You remember your first time when you met her or him, and conversation flowed. And when you looked at the watch, you suddenly realized that you spent 2 hours having a conversation just with a cup of coffee. But today, when you sit out with that person for 10 minutes, it becomes a struggle. Question is why? Because you've lost the spark in a relationship. Do you remember the time when you spent time with the person doing what? Just taking a walk, just, having intimate, soft conversation with each other. And it was such a delight. Do you remember your heart beating at an unprecedented pace? You being so excited, you looking forward to having that conversation. Do you remember the time when you used to start a phone call at 10 p.m. in the night, hiding it from your parents? And the conversation would go for an hour, for 2 hours, sometimes even till 3 in the morning. And you were still so excited to talk with him or her. That, my friend, is an example of a spark in a relationship. The question is, why do we even lose a spark in a relationship? Now, you must have started off with a good intention and you started off well. But after a period of time, things get a little too familiar. You know each other's thought processes, you know each other's behavior, the different mood swings, you know each other's errors, you know each other's goodness, you know each other too well. And at a point of time, we stop discovering our partner. We stop wanting to know more about them because we think that we already know a lot about them. And that, my friend, is one of the biggest blunders we make, because you'll be surprised to know that when you start discovering the partner, even after 30 years, even after 10 years, even after 2 years, you'll be surprised to know that there is so much more to that person than what you have actually seen. There is more. So, when you get too familiar in a relationship, that's a danger point. That's when the spark starts going off, and relationship becomes mundane and boring and routine. Sometimes the spark in a relationship may just disappear after a period of time, because sometimes you're so with each other in everything that you're doing. Possibly you're an entrepreneur, or you're a businessman, or you work for an organization, or you're a college going student or friend who are with each other all the time. And when you do not space out yourself from each other, at least for an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, or even more than that in a day, what will happen is there will be nothing more to talk. So sometimes spacing out could be a challenge that a lot of couples don't keep. And that leads to, conversation becoming too familiar. There is nothing to talk about, and that also makes the relationship boring. Sometimes relationship could lose the fire because they say that they tried everything. For example, they wanted to go out for a movie, they've done that. They wanted to go out to dine and go out to eat lunch or dinners, they did that. They went camping, they went to a beautiful romantic dinner date, they went out for a holiday together, and they've done a lot of things together, and therefore they feel that there is nothing more to do. And that also could be one of the reasons that makes the relationship go boring. However, one critical thing that also matters a lot also is quarrels. When partners are getting into an argument and fight and quarreling with each other, college or when you were young, 24, 25, 26, and now you've reached 40 and 42 and 45 and 47, and suddenly you started just because we are fighting. And that, my friend, could also, unspark a relationship. That could also create a lot of dark scars coming on the face, hair turning gray, and people somehow have this misconception that, if my partner used to look amazingly handsome at a point of time, that he's gonna stay like that forever. And guys may even think that my partner, whom I've loved so much, this is how she was and this is how she should look like. And aging can also be the reason why people may. And this no communication for a long time can create a lot of barrier between two partners. And this barrier can then lead to a lot of misunderstanding. The school and the budget and the finances, work in the organization, balancing the life, taking care of the mother-in-law, father-in-law, taking care of the home can sometimes be so taxing that people just, have no time to communicate. But the good news is this: if you were able to create spark at the start of the relationship, naturally, my friend, you can create spark even after 2 years of a relationship, or a 5 or a 10 or a 20, 30 or even 40 years of a relationship. The most important thing, my friend, is you need to know that, are you, number one, committed to your partner? Are you going to stay with him for better or for worse? One of the biggest human need in a relationship is an element of uncertainty, variety, surprise. If the intention is correct, my friend, then I think then you know each other so well that you not impossible. In fact, it could be easy as well. So here are my top 5 ways that you can reignite the spark in a relationship. How can you create surprise for your partner? For example, it's Valentine Day. Now you could say I'm busy at work, but at the same time, what's more important? Your wife, your girlfriend, or is it work? Now you would say work. All right. Who's going to stay longer in your life? Your partner or your work? And most of you would say your partner, your girlfriend, your wife. It is important for you to create a surprise element in a relationship. Now this can happen in many, many ways. It could simply mean that you could do something that your partner does not expect. It could be taking her or him to a place to dine that a person has never assumed, has never experienced. Okay, going for an adventure trip where it may look a little scary, but it could be completely soul igniting and could just excite you so much. Do something that surprises you. It could be as extreme as jumping off a plane together. It could be hiking. It could be going up the mountains. It could be climbing the Everest. It could be climbing mountains and jumping in the river. Of course, safely. On a Valentine Day, or does not even matter whether it's Valentine Day or any other day. What about going deep in the jungle and living in a tent and gazing the stars together? And, grab a guitar as well and a cup of coffee as well, with some great lunches that you all can prepare together and have some fun. So adding an element of surprise. Adding an element of surprise does not always have to be extreme. It could be as simple as, writing letters, you can write emails to people. You can send a WhatsApp screenshot and you can take picture from Instagram and send it to your partner. But there's nothing better than, sitting down with a paper and pen and, writing a lovely, beautiful letter saying that, I really love you. I really want you. I desire you. I just enjoy being in the company of you. It's fun. And write those words, and you can express your love for her and describe her or him. And write a lovely letter for the person, and you'll be surprised as to how your partner, more than being excited about an iPhone 11 or 11 Pro or any other highly budgeted product or services, they would be excited about a letter that you have genuinely written with authenticity and love. So when you write a letter, it could be a great thing. Sometime you could even change the way you start dressing up. You could change your attire. You could wear something that you've never worn before. Upgrade your dressing style. Whether you're a girl or a guy, you can upgrade your dressing style and surprise your partner with that. They'll be delighted. Sometime you can start asking yourself, do I look attractive to my partner? And ask her or him the honest opinion. And if you feel that you don't look attractive enough for the partner because you put on weight or you've become unwell or any other reason, it's important for you to start asking yourself, do you think it's time for me to hit the gym or start running, start walking, doing some exercises so that I can be fit again. And it could just create a new excitement in the relationship. You don't have to always do it, but it just creates excitement. So that is one suggestion that I have. Add element of surprise in the relationship. You are a creative person. Think about it and go ahead and spice up your relationship. Number 2, build consistent communication with your partner. Now, this is sometimes the most assumed part of the relationship. People think that when they become very familiar with their partner, they feel that the partner understands what you're going through. Or sometimes you think that you understand your partner just by looking at their behavior. But you'll be surprised that you could have a partner lying next to you in bed, and while you are asleep because of your tiring, busy day, she or he could have turned their face on the other side and could be crying. You have no idea, my friend, the struggles and the challenges the partner could be going through. And life's busy, life's tiring, and sometimes the pressure of finances, taking care of the home, taking care of children, taking care of exams, college, and taking care of peer pressure and social status and social media can be so powerfully stressing that it's important for you and your partner to consistently have a conversation. And my recommendation is it is good for a partner to have at least some conversation every day, which has to be beyond work. It has to be about you and him. It's very important. Now, when you do not have conversation, my friend, that's where the wall gets built, as I said earlier. That's where the break started happening. That's where your partner start exploring other people in their life because they somehow feel that one of their emotional needs or one of their physical needs is not being met. So whether it is physical intimacy, whether it is challenges that you're facing, whether it is managing the family, whether it is decisions that you got to make, whether it's finances, whatever it is important for both of you to open up and honestly have a conversation, my friend. And when you have communication consistently, my friend, then the spark will not be lost. The spark will come back again. Go ahead, spark your relationship with consistent conversation and communication. Number 3, accept that setbacks are gonna come. Now you would say, Bob, what are you talking about? Earlier when we started our relationship, there used to be no fight, there was no quarrel, there was no argument. And suddenly now when we have got into this part of the relationship, now there are so much of quarrels and there are so much of fights and, he doesn't understand me and, sometimes I don't understand him. I don't know why we're fighting. Is there something wrong that has happened to us? Are we not compatible? My friend, hold on. Stop. Don't make quick assumptions. Don't make judgment too quickly, my friend. You need to know that when you started off a relationship, that time there was lesser quarrel or lesser fights or conflicts because both of you were at your best. You tried displaying a part of you that was good, but at the same time, you did not display the other part of you that had imperfections. And whether you believe it or not, you, my friend, are imperfect and your partner is also imperfect. The more closer you come to each other, you start realizing that there are two imperfect people coming together and therefore there are going to be clashes, there are going to be argument. Not only are you two people who are imperfect, you have two different minds, two different opinions, two different worldview, two different experiences of life, two different beliefs. And when you come together, there are going to be fights, there are going to be setbacks. And therefore, you need to know, my friend, that when there are quarrels, when there are fights, when there are conflicts, do not be surprised. It is absolutely fine. When you're fighting, please remember, when you're conflicting, remember that two opinions are fighting with each other, and after a period of time, you will be able to blend in together. But hold on, let the fights turn to arguments, let the argument turn into conversation, and let the conversation turn into sparks of love, my friend. So it is okay if you have setbacks. It is okay if you make mistakes. What is more important is if you can come together, accept each other just as you are, forgive each other, discuss together, and laugh at each other. Know that disagreement is one step closer to agreement. Only if you choose not to give up on each other, you come back together and sort it out together. Right? I hope that helped you. Number 4, space out every day. Now, some of you would say, Bob, this sounds radical. This sounds really... Why should I space out from my partner? We love each other. You could love each other, but what happens is when you are always with each other, then you will just behave at your very, very best, because you're trying to please each other. What is very important also is when you are not spacing out yourself from your partner, at least for some minutes, hours in a day, what happens is that your individual thought process somehow gets undermined by your partner's opinion, and therefore it's very important for you to have your own unique personality. You got to have your own unique thought process. You got to have your own unique idea. And therefore, when both of you just are able to separate yourself and distance yourself every day, at least for some time, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hour, whatever makes it easy for you, where you can just be alone with yourself, you'll be able to ponder over some of the challenges that you're facing. You'll be able to ask yourself, what are the errors you're making? You'll be able to ask yourself, how could you handle the arguments that you're having in a much better and a more calmer way? It's not very difficult to convince yourself that you're imperfect when you're alone with yourself. So when you space out yourself, you can really take time aside and really think what's really happening in the relationship. And once you spaced out yourself, you come back. Then both of you sit down together, have conversation, discuss with each other, open up and share. You'll be amazed as to when you both come together, when you've spaced out yourself from each other, you'll be surprised as to the fun, the surprise, the creative ideas that both of you could have to make your relationship more better each day. Very important. Space out yourself so that you can come back together strongly. All right, finally, before we end, focus on growing together. Now, this is highly, highly critical. When you come together as lovers, as partners, your goal should not only be that you love each other physically and that you are just with each other, but your goal should also be that you grow together. And that, my friend, is very, very important. A lot of relationships break because both of the partners are not thinking about growth. They're only thinking of just coming together and loving each other. Everything that is very sweet, my friend, will at a point of time turn sour. A healthy, strong relationship, it is important for you to ask yourself one quick question. Are you both growing as partners? Are you growing in love for each other? Are you growing in trust with each other? Are you growing in your physical intimacy? Are you growing in the fun element of relationship? Are you growing in a way that you're also able to serve the world around you? Are you growing in a way that you're not selfish, but you're serving each other? You're growing financially, health-wise, you're growing in your family, you're growing in a bigger influence of your friends and your people around you. And are you growing and contributing to the world around you? You cannot live a very fulfilling life if your relationship is only about you. Can you also start contributing to the world around you by making the world a better place, my friend? And when you start contributing to the world and you come back, my friend, you will start feeling a sense of peace. You will start feeling a sense of love. You'll start feeling a sense of trust. You'll feel a sense of bliss in a relationship, my friend. When you do things that you did at the start of a relationship, then the relationship will never have an ending. Tony Robbins brings this great example that when you do things that you did at the very start of a relationship, then there will be no end to that amazing, beautiful, spiced up relationship. Lots of love. Signing off, Bobby Dsouza.